Today's flip lesson is on interpreting structures and expressions. Please note the Georgia Performance Standards, the Common Core Georgia Performance Standard. Also, in your notes, you should write the essential questions. So, how are algebraic expressions different from algebraic equations? How is the order of operations applied to expressions and simple formulas at specific values? And how are verbal phrases translated into algebraic expressions? Okay, so the great thing about your flip lesson, you could pause or rewind and go back. So I won't spend a lot of wait time, but you may pause or, like I said, rewind, fast forward even if you need to. So expressions are made up of terms. A term is a number, a variable, or the product of a number and a variable. An addition or a subtraction sign separates each term of an expression. So in the expression 4x squared plus 3x plus 7, there are three terms: 4x squared, 3x, and 7. Again, notice I said that the addition or subtraction sign separates each term. The factors of each term are the numbers or the expressions that, when multiplied, produce a given product. In the example above, the factors of 4x squared is 4, or are 4, and x squared. The factors of 3x are 3 and x. Four is also known as a coefficient. So 4x squared is 4 is a coefficient. Coefficient is the number multiplied by a variable in an algebraic expression. Again, a coefficient is the number multiplied by a variable in an algebraic expression. So when you see the number, it says 4x squared. This just means there's 4 x squares. And so then the coefficient of 3x is 3. So there are 3 x's. The term 4x squared also has an exponent. Exponents are indicated by the number of times a factor is being multiplied by itself. In this term, 2 is the exponent, indicating that x is multiplied by itself 2 times. Terms that do not contain a variable are called a constant. Constants, they don't change. That value stays the same. You're not going to multiply it by a variable to change it. So in our example, 7 is a constant. So let's look at it in table form. So we have the expression 4x squared plus 3x plus 7. And we said terms are separated by plus and minus signs, and we have 3 terms. Factors are things that multiply to get those terms. So 4x squared, 4, and x squared, and then 3 and x for 3x. And then coefficients are the number in front of the variables. So 4 is a coefficient and 3 is a coefficient. And then we have constants. Constant, the number 7 is a constant. Yes, technically 7 could have factors of 7 and 1. But when we're talking about factors, dealing with expressions, we're not really looking at the prime number factors. We're not looking at 7 and 1. So terms with the same variable raised to the same exponent are called like terms. I'm sure you remember that in 8th grade. So like terms, in the example of 5x plus 3x minus 9, 5x and 3x are like terms. Like terms can be combined following the order of operation by evaluating grouping symbols, evaluating exponents, completing multiplication and division, and completing addition and subtraction from left to right. So if you know, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So parentheses are grouping symbols. Exponents And then, my dear, multiplication and division is from left to right. You don't always do multiplication first. It's whatever comes first between multiplication and division. We talk about something called priority. So your grouping is your first priority. Your exponent is your second priority. And then multiplication and division is your third. And your fourth priority is addition and subtraction. So similarly to multiplication and division, you don't do always addition first. You do from left to right, whichever one comes first between addition or subtraction. So going back to our example, 5x plus 3x minus 9, 5x and 3x are like terms. We can add those and get 8x. Notice the sign or the symbol between them was addition. If there was a minus sign, I would subtract them. Some things I want you to guys kind of look out for is incorrectly following the order of operation. Again, priority is everything from left to right, multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. And then also like terms. If you have 4x squared and 7x cubed, those are not like terms. Just because they both have x's doesn't make them like terms. Okay, and so the last thing is combining like terms involving subtraction. You always have to remember to distribute the negative sign. We'll see some examples in that shortly. Okay, so here's a word problem example. This is a guided practice, so yes, you should take notes. You probably should pause it and try to figure out some of the questions by yourself. So, a smartphone is on sale for 25% off its list price. So, first of all, we have to understand 25% off, right? So, you're going to take something away. The sale price of the smartphone is $149.25. What expression can be used to represent the list price of the smartphone? Identify each term, coefficient, constant, factor of the expression described. And so here's a perfect opportunity to discuss knows and needs to know. So what do you know? What do you need to know? All right, so hopefully some of your knows will come up. So it says, first step, translate the verbal expression into an algebraic expression. So let x represent the unknown list price and then describe the situation. The list price is found by adding the discounted amount to the sale price. You guys, you'll see 25% off, 5% off a lot of times. But what you have to understand is the list price is equal to the sum of the sale price plus the discounted amount. So whatever the sale is plus whatever you're taking off. In our case, the discounted amount is found by multiplying the discount percent by the unknown list price. So we don't know what the list price is. We call that X. But we know that you're getting 25% off. And so whatever that unknown value is, the unknown list price, the sale price plus 25% of that unknown price would be the original value. And so it's almost like backwards thinking. So make sure you're processing that. So the discounted amount is found by multiplying the discounted percent by the unknown list price. The expression that represents the list price of the smartphone is, again, the sale price, $149.25, plus the discount, so 25% of the unknown list price. All right. Step 2 is identify all the terms. So there are 2 terms describing the expression. So you have the sale price, and then you have the discounted 25% off of the list price. And so if I go back, you guys, looking at the expression, so just looking at the expression, you have two terms, one addition sign. This is a term, and then this is also a term. Start thinking about which term is a constant. What would your coefficient be? What would your variable be? Okay, because that was part of the question. So, again, identify all the terms. We have our two terms. Then it says, step 3, identify the factors. So 0.25 times x is the product of the factors 0.25 and x. So factors 0.25 and x. All right. Identify all the coefficients. Remember, coefficients are numbers in front of a variable. So 0.25 is multiplied by the variable x. Therefore, 0.25 is a coefficient. Identify any constants. Remember, a constant is a number that doesn't change. It stands alone. Well, that sale price, that's a constant. It's not going to change. Right? When we're looking at it the way we're looking at it, the sale price is not changing. All right, so let's look at it in table view again. So we have our expression, 149.25 plus 0.25x. We have our term, well, terms with an S, because we have two terms. We have our factors, and then from our factors, we have a coefficient, and then we also have our constant. Easy enough? All right, let's try another one. So Helen purchased 3 books from an online bookstore and received a 20% discount.